Hi everybody, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Monday, December 30th, 2019. It's great to see you all again after being gone for the holiday. I hope everyone had a lovely holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to you. We are now on the last day of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah to those celebrating that. And Kwanzaa goes through January 1st. So happy Kwanzaa to those celebrating Kwanzaa. Hope everyone having a lovely time with family and friends. Now we're going to let you know what your top headlines, trending topics, and what we're working on for you right now ahead of our 6, 7, and 11 p.m. TV shows is, which is what we'll be talking about today on 3 News Now. As you know, Freddie Kitchens, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, is out. We'll be talking with 3 News sports analyst Ben Axelrod about that in just a moment, about who the next head coach for the Browns might be. Some good news for another Northeast Ohio-bred athlete who is not tied to the Browns. LeBron James was named Athlete of the Decade, and today is his birthday. Happy birthday to him. We'll also talk with Ben about that a little bit. And I'll let you know why another celebrity was trending on Twitter in Cleveland today. That's Sharon Stone, and what's going on with her and how she got kicked off of Bumble. Also, we're going to take a look at what some of your New Year's resolutions are for our We Know You Can segment for a little bit of Monday motivation. Let you know how you can score a free ride in Summit County with Lyft and City Yellow Cab. And also take a look at some of the best places to celebrate New Year's Eve in Cleveland for every single budget, including one very lavish party that is still available with ticketing for you. Okay. First up, we're going to be talking with 3 News sports analyst Ben Axelrod. We'll be talking with him about the loss of Freddie Kitchens after the loss to the Bengals yesterday. Ben, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
This is a day that we've been kind of preparing for, I guess I want to say. So many rumors going around about Freddie Kitchens maybe losing his job. So now we have to look to the future. We ended with a 6-10 loss. One thing that you had mentioned that I was kind of looking for the silver lining is that now we have a top 10 draft pick.
Right.
So that's a positive.
Kind of,
Ish.
yeah.
Potentially. But what we really want to talk about today is the head coaching search now. And we know you've outlined on WKYC.com. We have that link for you in the comments what some of those potential options might be.
Yeah, that's, they didn't take long. Usually when you fire a head coach, it doesn't come out until the Monday after the game. And they fired Freddie Kitchens Sunday night after the plane landed back from that quick ride back from Cincinnati. And it didn't really take long for this coaching search to get underway. There's already been a number of reports about the candidates they're looking at, some assistant coaches around the league who they're requesting interviews with, which you have to do in the NFL, especially for teams still in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. That was my question. I didn't really understand why you had to request to talk with them.
Yeah, because they're, and usually they get granted because teams don't want to hold back assistants from getting head coaching interviews and potentially holding them back in what's an undeniable promotion in their career. So usually those get granted, but it's usually, for the 3 candidates the 3 assistant coaches they've reached out to, all 3 of them are in the playoffs right now, although 2 of them have bye weeks this week and could technically interview as early as this week. So Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, he has a game this week actually, so if they interview him, it probably won't be until the Patriots have been eliminated from the playoffs. Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator of the San Francisco 49ers, they have a bye week this week. And then Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens, they have a bye week this week as well. And then there's also reports that they are setting up an interview with Mike McCarthy, the former head coach of the Green Bay Packers. So, those interviews, those reports of those interviews are out there. They've also been linked to Kevin Stefanski, the offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, who was a finalist for the job last year when they hired Freddie Kitchens. So, last year it was a lot quieter of a coaching search, and only a few candidates they would confirm that they were talking to. This year, it's kind of all out there already.
It sounds like it. One that particularly piqued my interest, being from Canton, Ohio.
Sure.
Josh McDaniels. Tell us about his ties to the Canton area, or to the Ohio area in general.
Yeah, he's from Canton. His father was a legendary high school coach at Canton McKinley, Tom McDaniels. He played at John Carroll, certainly familiar with Northeast Ohio. And, he's a guy who was a big-time up-and-comer in the coaching ranks. Was one of those guys who I think he got his start with the Patriots in his early 20s and was fast-tracked from there to the point that he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos in his early 30s, which is Very rarely does that happen in the NFL. Only a handful of times has that happened. And he flamed out in Denver and has spent the last 8 years back with the Patriots, kind of rehabbing his coaching career as the offensive coordinator with the Patriots. Has won 3 Super Bowls, kind of as Tom Brady's right-hand man. So, if you're going to rehab your career, it's tough to do worse than doing it with the New England Patriots. So, people have talked about him as if Bill Belichick were to ever retire or leave New England, him stepping in and taking over the Patriots, which would be one of the most coveted jobs in all of football. But the thing that's interesting about his connection to Cleveland isn't even necessarily his Northeast Ohio ties. He's a big fan of Baker Mayfield. There were reports 2 years ago when Baker Mayfield was coming out in the draft that the Patriots, despite having Tom Brady, were interested in trading up to the number 2 pick and picking Baker Mayfield.
Oh, wow.
And Josh McDaniels, according to reports and some rumor and innuendo, was the biggest proponent of that. And this could be an opportunity where he not only comes home, but gets to coach a quarterback he wants to coach. The reports and kind of the rumblings are that he would bring in his own staff, his own front office. So, he's kind of, as far as like, if we were to rank the buzz around these candidates and what's going on just, less than 24 hours into this thing, I think Josh McDaniels is at the top of the Browns list.
Another NFL coach that has been getting a lot of buzz is Mike McCarthy. There's been a lot of talk about that. You talk about someone who's had a Super Bowl win.
Right.
What do you think about that? How would that look?
Yeah, I think he's almost the safest pick. He was head coach of the Green Bay Packers for 13 years, coached Aaron Rodgers, won a Super Bowl, won a handful of division titles. He's kind of like a baseline level NFL head coach. Like, he's going to do a solid job. I think if Mike McCarthy was their head coach this year, we're probably talking about a playoff game coming up this week rather than a coaching search. But he does, a lot of times too with these coaching searches, though, you want that up and comer. You want a guy who you think is going to be around for the next decade or longer than that. So he might not have that kind of appeal. And, also in Green Bay, there's the question of how much credit does he get? How much credit did Aaron Rodgers get for his success? So he's not as intriguing of a hire maybe as a Josh McDaniels, who you think could be, the next great NFL head coach. But Mike McCarthy, if he were to come in, he'd certainly be the most qualified and the most credible head coach I think the Browns have brought in since coming back into the league in 1999.
Talking about keeping it local a little bit, though, one more I do want to talk about is the buzz around Urban Meyer and his potential opportunity here. Yeah,
this is one of those things with Urban Meyer where I think his name would come up with this job regardless. It's just he's out there, he's available, he has Ohio ties, he has Northeast Ohio ties. He's kind of been flirting with the Cowboys job and the Redskins job, and there's been some buzz about him and the Browns job, but it doesn't really just seem like speculation. There's like credible reports from multiple sources, multiple outlets about Urban Meyer's ties to the Browns and friendship with Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner. This isn't as far-fetched as it might have seemed like a month ago. Like, I think this is a name that really could come up. I don't know if this is the job he would take if he were to get back into coaching. I think that Cowboys job is probably, if it opens up and it looks like it will, I think that's probably the most appealing job on the market, and that would be that's the job where I think there's been the most steam with Urban Meyer. But if he's interested in the Cowboys job, I don't think the Browns job is that far-fetched. So that's certainly, his name hasn't come up today as far as the Browns setting up an interview or anything of that nature. But I think if his name were to come up, it would kind of be in secrecy. It would be one of those things that they hire him and we didn't even know that the interview happened.
Kind of like a little sleeper surprise.
Right.
They're good at surprising us.
Yeah. That's
with a 6-10 record for the season. That was definitely a surprise.
And that's why we're here today talking about head coaching candidates.
Yes, it is. One more name I do want to talk about, since we were just talking about Ohio State, Jim Harbaugh as a possibility.
Yeah, he's really kind of a different candidate because I'm looking at our list here, and we have Lincoln Riley, the Oklahoma head coach. He's one of those coaches that has a lot of buzz around him because Oklahoma's been to the college football playoff the past 3 years. He's coached a pair of Heisman Trophy winners, including Baker Mayfield. He's 36 years old. He's an up-and-comer, and if he were to be out there, he'd be linked to the Cowboys job. He could be linked to the Browns job. Jim Harbaugh hasn't been uber successful at Michigan. he's done well. His record's actually better than he probably gets credit for, and he's helped turn around that program to a degree. But he's not that young up-and-comer like a Lincoln Riley or Matt Rule at Baylor. But what he is he's a proven NFL head coach. I mean, he had a heck of a run with the San Francisco 49ers from 2011 to 2014. Went to
the Harbaugh Bowl,
Harbaugh Bowl, yeah, down in New Orleans. Almost beat his brother for the Super Bowl during the 2012 season. Went to 3 straight NFC title games. I mean, he was a proven NFL head coach, and a guy back in 2013 who the Browns were kind of targeting as a guy who they were talking about trading multiple draft picks to acquire, which doesn't happen all that often. So I threw his name in there as kind of a dark horse. He hasn't beaten Ohio State since he's been at Michigan. Maybe he just sees maybe he just sees the writing on the wall as far as what his ceiling is as far as coaching in Ann Arbor, and maybe he wants to make the jump back into the NFL. And if he were to come to the Browns and then he's in the same division with his brother, playing him twice a year, that'd be pretty fun.
That would be fun. All right, well, Ben has a very in-depth breakdown of some of the possibilities on WKYC.com. We have dropped that link for you in the comments. I want to bring it up a notch. I mean, it's exciting talking about new coaches, but let's bring it up a notch. Former Northeast Ohio athlete LeBron James. Well, first of all, happy birthday, LeBron. Today's your birthday, turning 35. But also the Associated Press Male Athlete of the Decade this year.
Yeah, this came out yesterday afternoon. Tomorrow's the last day of the decade. A lot of decade lists. We're doing our decade lists, and crazy to think how quickly these last 10 years have flown by. But LeBron James, Athlete of the Decade, I don't think there's really an argument to be made against him. I mean, you could throw Tom Brady in there, but LeBron has the same amount of championships, what he's done on the court, what he's done off the court. In many ways, he's transcended sports as far as being an athlete and a role model. And, here in Northeast Ohio, we were here for 4 or 5 of those years. So from Akron, obviously. And, I think it's a no-brainer pick.
Sure, and he brought the championship back to Cleveland, killing that long drought that we had, and everything he's done with the I Promise School, which is going to now have housing for some of its students and their families, which is going to be really great.
Yeah, and I think, too, go back to 2010, that was the decision when he left the Cavs for the Miami Heat. That really altered not only the NBA, but sports as far as athletes empowering themselves to take their own destiny into their own hands and making free agent decisions that we weren't seeing before that. And, whether that's good or bad, that's for you to decide. But, stuff like Kevin Durant going to the Warriors, Kyrie Irving demanding a trade out of Cleveland. These are 2 things that have hurt the Cavs, by the way.
Yes.
LeBron leaving again to go to the Lakers. LeBron coming back to Cleveland after a heck of a run with the Heat. And then in football, we've seen it with the trade demands, Antonio Brown, Jalen Ramsey, everything we've seen, Odell Beckham Jr. to a lesser degree as well. So that all started with the decision back in 2010, and then I think a lot of people forget how impressive those 4 years with the Heat really were, and then to come back and extend his prime in Cleveland and still in year 17 of his career, what he's doing with the Lakers right now, nothing short of incredible.
Absolutely phenomenal. And, of course, Female Athlete of the Decade, Serena Williams, in great company there. Yeah. She has had a phenomenal decade, made a big stir at the 2008 French Open when she came out in that incredible cat suit. Then it got banned, and then she came out in the tutu. Yeah. That's the thing that sticks in my mind about Serena Williams this decade. Phenomenal athlete. Awesome. And we do have that story up as well on WKYC.com. Ben, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Another celebrity whose name was trending here on Twitter in Cleveland is Sharon Stone. And when you see a celebrity's name trending, you sort of always have that gut check moment. Are they okay? Or did they say something totally wild and out of the box that we are now going to have to cancel that person for? But I can tell you neither of those things happened to Sharon Stone. In fact, you could argue that she's put herself into the line of fire because she got blocked from Bumble, but she's back on it, so she now gets to experience all the horrors of online dating that everyone else in that world gets to experience. I'm kidding, but we know it's not always great out there. So here's what happened with Sharon Stone. She was trying to put herself out in the field, and she had some matches on Bumble, and apparently some people reported her account for being fake, and Bumble closed her account. So she joked on Twitter, she said, "Hey Bumble, is being me exclusionary?" And then she added, "Don't shut me out of the hive," and she had a little bee emoji. And then she posted the notice that she got on Twitter as well, which is how she knew that people were reporting her account as being fake. That notice read, "Your account has been blocked because we've received several reports about your profile being fake." So pretty quickly, Bumble's editorial director, Claire O'Connor, got back to her and tweeted that they found Sharon's account and they did unblock her and assured her this will not happen again. And then Claire tweeted, "You can get back to bumbling. Thanks for bearing with us and hope you find your honey." Very sweet. I always love a pun, so I appreciate that response from Claire O'Connor. Happy bumbling, Sharon Stone. Okay, next up, as part of our weekly #WeKnowYouCan segment, we are taking a look at your New Year's resolutions because it is Monday, December 30th. Tomorrow is Tuesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, on the eve of a brand new decade, 2020. You don't have to wait until the start of the new year, of course, to make changes in your life, but a lot of people do. It's a great sort of reminder, one of those little triggers that gets us thinking about how we can do better, how we can be better, how we can just improve our lives, right? So we asked on social media today, what are some of your New Year's resolutions? I'll start off by sharing mine. I would like to get more out of my day by waking up earlier. And as you know, if you've been watching our Lunch Break with Jay Crawford show at noon, we have a brand new show that's coming up very soon, so my schedule will be changing. I won't have to be in at work quite so early, but I do hope to still get up early so that I can be productive throughout my day. Here are some of the others that were shared today. On Instagram, Lori Doherty shared that she would like to make sure to stop behind the white bar at a stop sign or stoplight. That is a great goal. And it is also the law. So good luck with that, Lori. We hope that you are able to accomplish that in the new year. Adam McEwen7 shared on Instagram that he would like to stop smoking. We know that smoking is not good for you, so very good luck with that, Adam. That is an awesome goal, and we wish you well with that. On Twitter, Dwayne Eckloff, whose username is MatchGame67, tweeted that he would like to get a new job that respects him for a change. I don't know what your current situation is, Dwayne, but wishing you all the best with that. Clark Kent with username WillWatt555 is taking it to the other extreme and is resolving to work less. Here's something you can keep an eye on if you have maybe some trouble setting those New Year's resolutions. I actually get an opportunity to talk with personal growth expert Monica Berg tomorrow on Lunch Break with Jay Crawford. You'll find that live on Facebook and YouTube, WKYC.com. And our 3 News app, airing tomorrow from noon to 12:30. Monica shares how we can avoid those pitfalls that sort of maybe get in our way when it comes to setting our New Year's resolutions and how to keep them not only getting started but also throughout the year. So very much looking forward to that. You can catch that here as well on Facebook. Now, if you are going out for New Year's Eve in Summit County, there's good news for you. The Arrive Alive program is back in Summit County for New Year's Eve, and you can get a free ride from New Year's Eve through the morning of January 2nd. This is courtesy of the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, Summit County Prosecutor Sherry Bevan Walsh, and you can use a special promo code to get up to a $20 free Lyft ride. That promo code is SCPONYE19, so SCPONYE19, or if you don't want to use the Lyft app, you can also get up to a $65 ride in Summit County for free from City Yellow Cab. In order to take advantage of that, you need to call 330-253-3141 and make sure you mention Arrive Alive. Also want to remind you that on Friday on Lunch Break with Jay Crawford, we had Kristen Giantonio in from Destination Cleveland, and she shared some of the best places to celebrate New Year's Eve in Cleveland. Here's a couple family-friendly options for people. At the Cleveland Metroparks Zoo, there is an event called Noon Year's Eve, and it is exactly what it sounds. They have the event at noon, so if you have little ones and you don't want to keep them up past bedtime, you can take advantage of that at the Cleveland Metroparks Zoo. That starts at 10 a.m., wraps up at 1 p.m., and they even have a video ball drop at noon. And if you would like to see some live entertainment, you can check out Music Box Supper Club tomorrow night. They have 2 different performances happening at 7:30 p.m. with doors opening, showtime at 9 p.m. The Cleveland Keys Dueling Pianos will be there, and the other event will be the Sunrise Jones performing live. We have links on our website to that, so you can check out ticketing for that as well. And here's one more event to be aware of. There are still tickets available to Lago's Cirque de Soiree. The Greatest Show. This is a night of lavish food, drinks, dancing, and entertainment, cocktails. There's an early attendance from 7 p.m. that includes dinner, which ends at 10 p.m. And then you can also show up to the late portion of the event, which starts at 10 p.m. and there will be drinks and refreshment. There will be live entertainment throughout the night. We have the link to that in the 3 News Now article that's on WKYC.com, but you can also go check that out at LagoNYE2020.eventbrite.com. This is taking place at Lago in the Flats East Bank. So you might want to check that out if you're looking for a more lavish night out and you haven't gotten your tickets yet. There are still available to that event. Thank you so much for joining us here on 3 News Now. We appreciate you being a part of our comments on the Facebook page and the YouTube page, watching us on the website and the 3 News app. Make sure, if you're not already, like our Facebook page, facebook.com/WKYC.channel3. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube page, youtube.com/user/WKYCTV. While you're on our YouTube page, make sure that you click the bell so you get notifications every single time we go live so that we can always catch up every afternoon on 3 News Now. We can keep this conversation going. You can message me directly at _Stephanie Haney on Twitter and Instagram. I will not be doing any streams for you for the rest of this year, so I will see you next year. I hope everyone has a wonderful new year, and I will see you in 2020. I'm Stephanie Haney.